Hey guys, it's Lefty back again, and today I want to talk to you about SimCity. That's right, SimCity. The title released last year, 2013, in I believe March of 2013. SimCity or SimCity 5. It was, I believe, a reboot of the series. They just call it SimCity, even though there have been plenty of previous SimCity titles before. Sometimes video gaming naming is just kind of weird. They get off at the numbers, and then there's like subtitles, but then the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, or well, it's Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, all that crazy stuff. Sometimes it's hard to keep track. But SimCity, I'm talking about the title that's almost a year old. It's actually 9 months old. Can you believe it? It does seem, somebody remarked on Twitter that it seems, I talked about this a little bit on Twitter, which, by the way, you can follow me on Twitter at Lefty643 if you want to keep in touch. Live streams, videos, updates, news. You want to hear me rant? All that good stuff at Lefty643. But anyway, somebody remarked to me that it seems like it's been a lot longer, and it has. It doesn't seem like 9 months, but 9 months ago, or thereabouts, SimCity was released. It was an awful release. Awful. The game was bug-filled. There are actually serious questions as to how good of an actual sim the game is. Traffic simulations. It was shown that traffic simulations and some of the infrastructure, I believe water and sewage. It was shown that some of the things are just nonsensical. The game doesn't work as it should in that respect. There have been traffic updates and all this stuff, but the big reason that SimCity was an awful release, or it was plagued by an awful release, was that it was released as an always online title. Maxis and EA, Maxis was the developer, publisher was EA. They came out and said SimCity is going to be an always online title. If you want to play SimCity, you are going to have to be able to connect to Maxis or EA's servers. You're going to have to be able to have a connection in order for the game to work. And a lot of people were upset about that. They said, well, I didn't know that this was going to be a requirement of me when I bought the game, and now all of a sudden you're springing this on me. I have an intermittent internet connection, or I'd like to play on the plane, or it's a sim. I just want to play by myself. I don't want a multiplayer aspect. And one of the big things, SimCity, a Maxis CEO actually said that SimCity needs to be online in order for the game to function. It was said to us, the picture was painted to us that SimCity was so complicated of a game. There were so many computations going around all the time to create this sim and create the world in order for it to function as it should. The engine was so complicated that Maxis had to write code to offload some of the computations to the cloud. More the cloud stuff. We've seen that a lot. But now it comes out. Or, well, I should follow up on wrap up the crappy release. Well, when the game released, they didn't properly load test the servers. They didn't have enough servers up and ready to go, and so the people couldn't connect to the servers. And because it was an always online game with no offline mode, if you couldn't connect to the Maxis overloaded servers or EA's overloaded servers running SimCity, you couldn't play your game. You bought the game, you had the game, you couldn't play it because it was always online and you couldn't connect. Now, they said, again, it has to be always online. The game would not work. It is so complicated. You probably don't have a powerful enough PC to run this game, to do all the computations that you need in order for this engine to work properly. So we have to make it always online to offload the computations to the cloud, and then the game will work. But, oh yeah, if the servers go down, you can't play. Well, okay, let's take that premise at face value. Now, 9 months later, in a blog post on the SimCity.com blog, general manager of the Maxis studio, Patrick Buchner, or Buchner, I like Bush better, but it's probably Buchner. He said in a blog post that with Update 10 coming to SimCity, 9 months old, Update 10, there will be an offline mode coming to SimCity. An offline mode in which you can create your own city. Single player, offline mode. Finally is here to SimCity, right? Yay, yay, yay! Oh, wait a minute. I thought the game was too complicated to run locally. I thought there were too many computations going on at any one time that my PC probably couldn't do it. And so you needed to offload all the computations to the internet, to the cloud. But now with Update 10, all of a sudden, oh yeah, it's a free update that's going to make offline mode possible. I thought the game needed to be online. I thought those computations needed to be offloaded, and in order to preserve the integrity of the game engine, there needed to be those offloaded processes and whatnot to the cloud. I'm going to do it like that every time, because all the people that are like, "Oh my god, the cloud is so awesome." But I thought in order to preserve the integrity of the game, of the engine, of everything, it needed to be online. Oh well, now they say, "Oh, never mind." In a single update, we are going to create an offline mode. They're testing it now. Should come in the next month or two. People are speculating SimCity will have an offline mode finally. Now, is that really that big of a deal? Right? SimCity's 9 months old. How many people are still playing it? I'm sure there are a lot of really big SimCity fans, and they're really happy about this. And if that's okay, good for you. Those questions I talked about, I did some cursory research, and people are still questioning the integrity of the sim itself, whether those bugs having to do with traffic, having to do with sewage and whatnot, are actually make it a worthwhile endeavor. But I think it's okay, you like it. It's cool. Is it really that big of a deal? If this update were happening a month into the game's life cycle, if this game would have happened, or if this update would have happened, let's say early summer of 2013, it'd be a huge deal. And it would even be more of a hypocritical stance because, a month ago, you had Max's CEO saying, well, it needs to be online because you can't do the computations, the cloud. Oh, but never mind. No, we can't. So I think it's clear, first of all, that this is a safe I hope it's not a tumor. A face-saving move by Maxis and EA, because when they initially drew that line in the sand saying the game has to be online, they can't turn around a month and a half, 2 months later and say, oh, okay, well, here's an offline mode. I think it's very clear, or at least reasonable to suspect, that an offline mode always was possible. It was always able to be done, but they just had to wait a while for people to kind of forget about the fact that EA and Maxis had drawn this line in the sand saying it needs to be online. But I think we can draw an even larger conclusion from this, okay? Because SimCity, okay, if you're a hardcore SimCity player, you're really happy. But people that bought SimCity when it launched and the game's 9 months old and they don't give a crap about it anymore, they're on to playing Call of Duty or Battlefield 4 or any number of the other games that have released in the holiday season, or they're getting geared up for the games that are coming in 2014. What's the big deal? What's so interesting about this, Lefty? Why are you even talking about it? Well, first of all, I bought SimCity because I kind of want to play it. And this is cool now because I'll be able to play it offline. I wanted to stream it with Gom, and because I know he has it, and I think Dr. Shiz has it as well. So that would be something that could stream for a couple hours and just play that. I think it would be cool. And I got it for cheap on Amazon. So I was like, okay, yeah, cool. SimCity, $15-20, cool. But so this is an interesting thing for me because I'll be able to play it offline. But I think the interesting part we can take away from all this is if we just expand out just a little bit. Don't accept always online anymore. Just because the internet is growing in pervasiveness throughout society, everything is connected, blah, 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 all this stuff. Just because that's the case doesn't mean you should accept somebody's telling you that, oh, this thing needs to be always online, because it probably doesn't have to be. We learned that with Diablo 3. Diablo 3, when it launched, it was an always online title, and people and Blizzard, Activision came out and said, well, it needs to be online, it needs to be online, it needs to be online. Well, it turned out that it didn't need to be always online. What they really wanted to do was they wanted to preserve the integrity of their auction house system, and more importantly, their real money auction house system. And to do that, they wanted to drive people to the real money auction house, and they made a small percentage of every transaction, and there are tons of transactions, so that it's a good way to make a lot of money. So if you make your game always online and then you drive people and usher them towards needing the auction house to gear up and level up and continue playing the game, well, that's great, because if it's offline, well, they don't really need the auction house. They can just play. They can crack the game if they want. They can turn up item loot drops, and that doesn't jibe with what Activision Blizzard wanted. So they made it always online. We saw it with the Xbox One, always online. Need to always be online to verify the integrity of your game. Just holy draconian practices. But then after a lot of people got upset about it and say, you don't need this. Why do I need to always be online or once every 24 hours, which is effectively an always online system? I don't need to be always online. And in fact, I can't always be online. And that's rather bullshit that just to protect a few things, what you believe is it was copyright driven in the first place in the Xbox One's, in the case of the Xbox One, that's not my problem. Your need to protect or your want to protect the copyrights of other publishers and developers shouldn't necessitate I have to be always online. What if I want to take my Xbox One to an island? I should be able to play it there. But and so they backtracked on those. Microsoft backtracked on those practices and said, "Oh, okay, well, never mind. Day one update. You won't have to be always online. Our bad." And now finally, SimCity, 9 months later, saying, "Well, okay. You don't always need to be always online. We're going to fix it. Here's an offline mode coming to you." Do not accept always online anymore, because we have seen time and time and time again that there are usually ulterior motives to always being online. They want to sell you something. They want to get you to go someplace, or they're trying to protect interest. They're trying to offload responsibility for something onto you, the player, onto you, the customer, onto you, the gamer. So do not accept always online anymore, because as we saw with Diablo, as we saw with the Xbox One, and as we see now with SimCity, it's bullshit. It's not necessary. It's not needed. It is something, it is really all it is you being willing to accept the things. They want to get away with it. The developers, the publishers, the makers of game systems, they will get away with it only as long as you put up with it. Only as long as you say, well, everything's connected on time, always online anyway, blah, blah, blah. But that one time you don't want to be online, that one time you can't get online, and now everything doesn't work, maybe that's not such a great place to be. So if you don't want to accept, if you don't want to live in a world where you have to be online to use all the things that you want to use, don't accept always online. Don't accept the excuse making and the apologizing, because as we've seen, a lot of the times it's just bullshit. Anyway, guys, that's my time. I got to get out of here. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to drop a like on this video if you did enjoy. As always, likes, favorites do help me out. I greatly appreciate it. Shares via Facebook and Twitter as well. Also, hit the subscribe button if you like what you see. Plenty more gaming content and stuff like this coming along the way. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed. I'm out. Peace.